Hi, Misha here, and we've done quite a few longer videos recently, so I thought, yeah, let's just do something a little brief and to the point, talking about shooting of the Hungarian FEG SA85m. And up here, of course, we have the Preban, pre-1989 Kassner. And here we have the Postban KBI. The Prebans were imported in one large batch in 86 or 87. And the Postbans were actually imported in several batches between 89 and 90, going all the way up to April of 1998, when high-capacity magazines, or rather the ability to accept them, were no longer allowed under the sporting clauses. And the thing is, a lot of interest in recent years has come up with the SA-85m. It was a little bit of a lesser-known gun. Everyone focused on the Chinese, especially the Polytechs. Quite a few people knew about the Mahdi's, especially the Steyrs. But the Kassners and even the KBIs kind of flew under the radar. Now, if you see a Preban, it's probably like mine here, and it's the underfolder. 4,000 underfolders came in, only 3,000 fixed stockers. And more importantly, you just don't see the fixed stocked versions come up too often. This fixed stocked is based on the AK-63F, and the underfolder is a semi-automatic version of Hungary's AK-63D. And these were their, not exactly AKM/AKMS clone, but close enough. Fire 7.62 by 39, 16 1/4 inch chrome line, cold hammer forged barrel, paint over phosphate type finish, but uniquely Hungarian slab side handguards, and the Hungarian kind of eye-shaped wood pistol grip. And both of these have a dimpled magwell with a double stack, capacity, size, diameter, what have you. So there's only really a few differences, and a Postban KBI might be of interest because, well, there are very few Preban fixed stockers. So if you'd like a fixed stock gun, which many prefer over an underfolder, picking up one of these is not a bad option. You can pull this Thumbhole stock off. It's a square back, so a regular fixed wood stock and wood grip will go right on. And then you have yourself a nice quality Hungarian gun with mostly military features. The magwell will be the same, the handguards will be the same. The only difference, both still have the cleaning rod under the barrel, but of course the bayonet lug had to be removed for the Postban. And it's a little bit different under the front sight base. Part of the bracket's also machined off, but not so much that the cleaning rod won't be retained. And then, of course, this is threaded 14x1 left hand with a removable slant muzzle brake and detent. This is not, although luckily the barrel was never threaded here, so you can cut them, and it even has the hole in the front sight base, so you can install the detent. So yeah, it's pretty easy to convert these. Probably the bayonet lug's the only tricky thing to add back. If you can live without that, you can thread the barrel, swap furniture, and have yourself a fixed stocked SA-85m. Quality is quite high on these. Features are all about the same. We really don't know how many came in. Based on serial numbers, it seems like FEG produced between 20 and 22,000. Although it's entirely likely not all of these came over to the USA. So that's one option. You can have a fun project here. But there is a growing community that kind of likes this transitional 90s band era. So what if you want to keep this with the Thumbhole stock? Well, how does it shoot? And how does it shoot compared with the underfolder here? Well, recently we took this to the range, ran just a couple of mags through it. Part of it was we knew it would run reliably, and part of it is the cost of ammo now. We didn't take this one out this time, but we've shot it in the past, so I do have a clip or two for it. So with that, let's play the shooting clips, and then just kind of talk about how they felt to shoot, and if the underfolding metal stock or the Gorilla butthole stock is usable, or maybe neither one. Alright, the Hungarian with the long stock, the SA-85. I'll give it that. Long stock though. Hungarian SA-85m. The joys of underfolders. These are both high quality military grade guns, built back in a time when AKs really were just that, reliable and dependable. This is long before US stuff, so we don't need to get into that. So either one's going to be equal there. One thing I do need to remind people, a lot of times the 89 ban is confused with the 94 assault weapons ban. But no, the 89 was an executive order signed by George Bush, and it dealt specifically with imports. And it banned evil features like pistol grips, underfolding stocks, bayonet lugs, and threaded barrels, or rather specifically removable flash hiders and the like. It did not address magwells, so when they made guns compliant, while they had to go with doofy stocks like these to get rid of the pistol grip, while they had to remove the bayonet lug, and one way or the other not have a threaded barrel, they could still leave the standard magwell, at least for a time. This would last up until April of 1998, when President Clinton would amend the 1968 Gun Control Act and add two Bush's 89 additions to that, no longer allowing magazines over 10 rounds to be accepted onto imported guns. Again, both of these things are for imports only. The 1994 stuff, well, there's two things. Earlier in the year, you had the sanctions against Chinese guns. And then later, the crime bill was passed by Congress and signed into law by Clinton, and part of the crime bill was the assault weapons ban. But that really only applied to domestic guns. And by that I mean the import ban from 89 was actually already stricter than the 94 assault weapons ban, so guns like these were already compliant. So it just didn't matter. I just wanted to point that out because it does get a little convoluted at times. So with that, how do they shoot? And which one would I rather have? Metal Preban, or if I couldn't change it, wood Postban. Cosmetically, in the looks department, obviously the Preban. There's something very neat looking about the underfolding wood stock, especially when it's paired with the wood pistol grip. And this stock looks quite ridiculous. It comes back very thick in this area, and then it has this odd sweep down, but not like an AK-47, the original mill gun, where it's angled. This is more like a severe step down. Like it comes back and steps down, effectively giving a cheek rest, and at least it does have a sling swivel. And I will give credit, this is quality wood. It's not chintzy wood that's going to crack or break. It's not fancy wood, but it is nice, solid wood to match the handguards. The lack of the bayonet lug doesn't bug me, and again, threading the barrel, no big deal. I do like that these have the cleaning rod under them. I think the Mac 90s without the cleaning rods just, I don't like them. As far as shooting them, triggers are going to be the same. I remarked when shooting this that it actually did have quite a nice trigger. Boat throw on this one versus this one. Very similar, but I would actually say this Postban maybe is just a little bit smoother of a bolt throw. Who knows, but yeah. And shooting with this stock is an interesting experience. The positive, this grip, although it's a little odd shaped, is actually quite comfortable. It's very rounded, no sharp edges. It even has this kind of stop on the bottom, which slightly mirrors the eye grip here, but it's a totally different shape. So I found this part of the grip fine. I didn't have any trouble reaching the trigger. And with a lot of these Thumbhole stocks, that's the problem area. Too big or too little, generally speaking, uncomfortable. They at least put some effort into this stock, you can tell. And while it has the metal sling swivel, it actually has a sporter style plastic butt plate, ribbed for your pleasure, held on with screws. The odd thing for me is this step down. Because of the angle and everything, it kept wanting to point further down than I felt was natural for a Kalashnikov. So I felt like when I was pulling it up, I was kind of shouldering it at an awkward angle. Of course, with the underfolder here, as you heard me comment on that, this is none too pleasant on the old cheek. So as far as cheek rest, this one's clearly more comfortable. But as far as placing the butt plate against my shoulder, I found this to be unusual. Could I get used to it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I would probably replace this with a nice Hungarian buttstock and pistol grip, because then you've got an AK-63F. And because the Prebans are so uncommon, it's one you could take out and enjoy. But again, there's a group of people that are kind of into the Thumbhole stock guns now. And you know what? Fair enough. Their guns, their choices. But of course it was a good shooter. Safety manipulates just fine. Same type of enlarged stop on the bottom. Same type of paint over phosphate finish. Not a lot of difference. And as I've said in the past, with these Postban guns, you can have either the full-length gas system or the slightly shorter AMD 65 length. Just kind of depends, because FEG was using whatever parts they had on hand by the 1990s. And again, a very clear indicator of Postban versus Preban, Kassner versus KBI. And there you really have it. And of course, it did not end here with the Postban KBI SA85m. They would soldier on, introducing the SA-8000m by late 1998, 1999. A very similar gun, except it had a single stack magwell, and it came with black polymer furniture. Nominally, it's supposed to have been sourced from Choate in the USA. So gone was the nice wood. While the SA-2000M is a perfectly okay gun, it definitely loses some of the classiness of the SA-85m. And this is kind of interesting too, because this is really FEG's first series of semi-automatic guns. And keep in mind, when the original Prebans came in, Hungary was still technically behind the Iron Curtain, still technically a comm-block Warsaw Pact nation. Unlike, say, Egypt, who was an early importer of the AKM, who had autonomy and wasn't really part of the comm-block, or of course Finland, who did their own thing. This was the first series of guns to really got out of the comm-block era. And during that time period, I mean, if you consider Yugoslavia, okay, fine. Later on, Mitchells would import a few of those too, along with... but Yugoslavia's position was a little more independent. But you would have to wait till the 90s to really see other European AKs, like from Bulgaria, Romania, and so on. And of course, China, well, it was certainly communist, but it really wasn't part of the Warsaw Pact as such. It was its own critter. And the Chinese guns definitely made up the vast majority of semi-auto AKs in the USA in both the 80s and 90s, which is why guns like these, and the Modis for that matter, were overshadowed until the Chinese guns were sanctioned in 1994. But because of that sanction, that gave other nations and other companies a chance to flourish and make inroads into the American market. And I think that's something to keep in mind as we're kind of having uncertain times now with the Russian issues and all that. Sometimes, and not always, but sometimes when one thing is blocked or banned or goes out of business, that deficit in the market allows someone else to come in and fill the need. And sometimes it's even better. Personally, I like the SA-85m, or even the Modi, or even the early Romanian guns, as much or even more, in my case usually more, than the Chinese guns. But I've been on record several times with my opinions on Chinese guns. I've said that they're not bad, but they're not the bestest ever. Just like the Chinese guns, these FEGs were made in a comm-block factory, a war factory, and it shows because they are military quality. So yeah, if you happen to stumble across a KBI 85m or even 2000m, yeah, check it out. There's a lot of fun things you can do with it. You can restore it to either an AK-63F or even an AKM-63, or heck, you might want to leave it as such, since it takes standard mags. Hey, this stock is memorable, and it is good quality wood, and a very gentle, nice recoiling gun. So I thought we'd start the week off by talking about a nice AK again. Why not? Hope everyone's starting October off right. Feel free to comment below. As always, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help the channel, as always, welcome you to check out the link to the Patreon page. This is Misha. Catch you very soon. Next time.